But the one place, last Saturday we had the live stream, and it was it the day of Donald Trump's the attempted assassination on Donald? I think it was the day of. Was it Saturday or was it Friday or something like that? I forget. But it was very, very soon, very close to the actual event, and we talked about it a little bit and talked about some of the nonsense and everything that was already being said. The the ideologues in the media, or the ideologue run media, is still desperately trying to get their narrative straight. What are we, where we go from here? At first, it was trying to play it down. It was no big deal. And then I guess they figured out, well, I guess we got to denounce it. So, they begrudgingly denounced it, tried to tie it to January 6th and pretend that, see, it's all the same thing, which is not. But I did that stream, and I mentioned, I made a point on the stream. I made a point of people that I've heard, in my own family and in life, and just, lamenting the fact that, Trump supporters, they're just so cult-like. They're such a cult. And I talked about, I made the point, and I even cut it out as its own video. Are you kidding me? If we're going to talk about cult-like behavior, let's look at Obama's supporters back in the day. And I'm not talking about, I made the point too, and I'll make it again, I'm not talking about just somebody who might have leftist-leaning politics or just might consider themselves a Democrat or whatever. I'm talking about ideologues who allow the ideology to seep in and overtake everything they do. And you would be surprised, because that's pretty much it's just a fact, right? I mean, whether you like Trump or hate Trump or like Obama or hate Obama, that's just a fact that the nation went crazy during the Obama election. It was disgusting to see that level of straight up worship of a human being. That's not healthy, no matter what your politics are and no matter what the candidate is we're talking about. And you would be surprised at the pushback I got from that. I still got pushback. I still had people saying, no, well, I've searched YouTube and I don't know. I think Trump's more cult-like in his followers. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding? Stop it. I did have one person, which I appreciated, who said, look, I don't like Trump. I'm actually an Obama supporter. But yeah, that was crazy. That should not have happened, or something to the effect. And you're right. You're absolutely right. It's just, it's absurd and it's obscene. But see, this, I'll show you and then I'll make my point about it. I've got, I had to look up, and it was actually hard to find because they don't really want it out there. But there was a, put this here, share audio. Okay, good. There, you guys might remember this whole celebrities were getting together and doing the most ridiculous videos and ad campaigns and commercials, trying to, insert all of their influence. We're Hollywood and we're telling you what to do. And, this was one of the videos they did, just trying to make sure everybody pledges their support to our president. That's like something you would see in a dictatorship, or communism or something like that. The idea that we need all of our celebrities to get together and try to encourage. We need to make sure everybody pledges support to this president. No, that's obscene. And I'm just going to show you a couple of. It was this long pledge, and you might watch the whole thing, and some of the things are couched into things that are, hey, I pledge to, help the elderly. I pledge to do this. I pledge, some of the things these celebs are pledging, are fine, but it's all contextualized into because we will follow and trust Obama. That's what it's there for. I'll show you just a couple of clips. This is Anthony Kiedis' idiotic self. This was his little bit from it here. Let's see.
To be of service to Barack Obama.
Are you kidding me?
Pledge
to change.
First of all, to name parts of your body after a leader is kind of idiot. I know he's not really named, but that's the gist. That's the joke. I'm naming this bicep, Barack. I'm naming it, and then to kiss them is almost like this religious, what? The other one I'll show you. You can go through and watch the whole thing on your own. You can do a little searching and find it. But the last part, Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore, they really sum it up here at the end. And I'll show you here. Let's see, I'll start a second or two before then, just so you can get the whole thing.
I pledge
to be a servant to our president
and all mankind, because together we can. Together we
I pledge to be a servant to our president. Tell me again that Trump's followers are a cult. Go ahead, try it. You can tell me all you want that he won't be a good president or you don't like his policies or whatever. These are logical discussions and logical arguments. But this is an example of just a simple fact. Okay, that Obama supporters are the Fuhrer. I don't want you to say Obama supporters because there might be people that support him as a president that don't necessarily, worship him. But that was way more cult-like than anything anybody has a right of accusing Donald Trump's followers about. But if you're more than just an Obama supporter and somebody who doesn't like Trump, if you're more than that, and if you're an ideologue, if you're somebody who has swallowed this whole Trump is Hitler, Obama was our Lord and Savior, if you just swallow that ideology and we must push the new world order into the world, if you've swallowed that ideology, then a truth like the fact that Obama inspired way more cult-like behavior and worship than Donald Trump ever did. That's just a truth. It's a fact. You can't even argue it, okay? And if you're not an ideologue, if you just happen to like Obama and don't like Trump, then that truth, that fact shouldn't threaten your opinions or your ideas. And, one or two people it didn't. But oh my gosh, so many people out there today, these are the idiots who are going around saying that, well, it was obviously a staged assassination attempt. They did all this just to try to, drum up support for him. What? Or the people who think it's perfectly okay to joke that he should have been killed for some way. Yeah, and there are plenty of people like that, and there are a lot more people like that than who are vocalizing that. I guarantee it. But it's, at least in this moment, thankfully, it's been, sort of asserted that that's not going to fly in our mainstream culture right now. You don't get to say that, But the ideologues, they can't accept a truth, a fact that they can't somehow use to the betterment of their agenda, of their narrative. They can't accept that. They won't do it. And that's the danger of ideology. That's the danger of ideology and culture, because it takes people who are, on the one hand, pretty smart, right? Some people can be very smart. You can be intelligent or you can be talented, right? And in comics and in movies and in books and everything, we always talk about and we lament the fact that certain creators, writers, directors, or whatever, who've given us such amazingly iconic, wonderful, true, good art, stories in the past, have suddenly just, Trump derangement syndrome took place, and all Mark Waid can write about now is how much he hates Trump, and stuff like that. Those kinds of, whether you're talented or whether you're intelligent, ideologies sink in and they absolutely just short circuit all of that. They short circuit any, inspiration your brain would get from your talent or intelligence, and everything is in service to the ideology. Everything you do, everything you think, everything has to be in service to the ideology. And we are seeing that far more in, I'm not saying that everybody on the left is like this and nobody on the right is like this, but I think it's pretty much just a fact that we're seeing that far more on the left these days. Because, a lot of the people, and I'm not talking about like people in the media who are really kind of making a career out of endorsing Trump or anything, or just really kind of going at that hard. I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about people who voted and really put him in the office the first time. These were people who were sick of being called idiots just because they didn't share the politics of Hollywood. These were people who, were tired of Hollywood constantly condescending to us, celebrities, just assuming that you have to believe in this, you have to believe in that, or, well, I mean, you're either ignorant or you're evil or you agree with us, people were sick of it. And so I think Trump galvanized a lot of people who normally wouldn't have even voted at all, but were tired of being treated like that. So came out for the vote. And honestly, with the way that the mainstream media is handling all of this stuff with the attempted assassination, it looks like it's going to happen again, which, I'm happy about. But But that's these dangers of ideologies. They just short circuit any intelligence, any talent. Andre says, Prof, do you think SGWs can be redeemed? I mean, I think some are waking up and are moving away from the ideology. Oh, yeah. I mean, an ideology, it's hard. It's hard work to break from an ideology because you've given over you 100% of your identity to it. Think about people actually breaking from a real cult, coming out of an actual cult. I don't just mean a religion. I mean, an actual cult. Think of people coming out of an actual cult. They've had to, they've been brainwashed into not even being able to conceive of themselves or anything they might do outside of that belief system. And this is what ideologies do. And again, it has nothing to do with, vote for this party or that party. You can, have whatever scale of politics you want on the spectrum, but when you're an ideologue, when you've given yourself to an ideology, you can't even fathom, so it can be done. It can be done. It's very, very hard to do. Very few people who are given to an ideology are ever going to do it. You see a lot of them are waking up. I mean, on the one hand, I don't know what you're talking about there, Andre, but I know on the one hand, we do see a lot of Hollywood stars, at least toning it down a little bit. I guess maybe some are saying the other thing. It's infuriating to me as a fan of a lot of the work of a lot of these celebrities. Like, I'll give you an example. Martin Short. I love Martin Short's work. He has done some of my favorite, I don't know my favorite movies, but he's just done some amazing movies that I dearly love. I loved his work on SCTV. I loved him on Saturday Night Live. Ed Grimley is one of the best fictional characters. I love it. Three Amigos, Three Fugitives. I mean, he's just been in so many great things. Inner Space, Martin Short's just the man. I mean, he's just done so many great things. And I used to watch, sometimes I'll still watch them if they pop up in my feed, GQ, the GQ magazine. They have a YouTube channel, and they've got this series that they do. I don't really read magazines or whatever, but I just saw this series that would interest me. And they'll take different actors, or I don't think GQ does actresses. I think like a sister magazine does actresses. But they'll take, certain actors or whatever, and they'll sit them down and they'll say, so-and-so responds to like 5 or 7 of their most iconic films, so there's a really cool one they did with Kurt Russell, some actors. And then I saw one on Martin Short. So I thought, great, let me see, because it's the actor talking a little bit about how they got that role that you love so much, or their thoughts on making the movie, or why that character resonates so much with people and so forth. And I thought, great, cool, I'll watch Martin Short's. And I'm under no delusion that any of these celebrities I'm watching are even in any way, sharing my politics. Obviously, they're celebrities. 99.99% of them are going to be raging liberals. But the ideologues and the Trump derangement syndrome just hit so hard. And this interview with Martin Short was, I think it was towards the end of Trump's presidential term, his first presidential term there. And he kept making references. You can look it up. You can look up GQ Martin Short, interview or whatever. You'll find the video I'm talking about. No one's asking him about Trump. No one. Trump isn't even remotely the topic of this interview. We're just asking him about the roles that he had, this and that. And he keeps finding little ways to make a Trump joke. And the person that he's interviewing is like over here. So his line of sight is over here. And every time he thinks of a little way he can insult Trump, he turns to the camera and does his little grin. And after like the third time, it's like, something's wrong with you, man. Something's wrong with you. The jokes you're making aren't even all that funny. I mean, you're better than that. You can if you really wanted to make an insulting joke about Trump, you could, but it's the ideology ruling him. I mean, it was just silly things. Like, he's talking about a character and he thinks, I think what's funny about this character is, he's so incompetent, but he's in charge. We don't know anything about that, do we? And it's just like, what? Come on.